What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another vid. And as you can see on the title, I finally got this 496 big block Chevy in this truck. So let's go take a look at it. All right, guys, so well, I don't know if I show y'all this in the last vid, but these are the wheels. Facebook Market wheels, 22s. Yeah, and then you can see those brakes right there. I still gotta adjust the coilovers, raise it up a little bit more. Oh, and I probably didn't tell y'all this. I got a QA1 adjustable coilovers. But anyway, I'll get those adjusted. But yeah. Anyway, you can see got the big block in here. Hopefully y'all can hear me with the fans on. It's hot out here. Another 98-degree day, which is kind of weird for Texas because I think this year we only hit 100 degrees for 3 days this year, maybe one day, which is kind of weird for Texas, but I'm not complaining. Anyway, I've been doing some wiring. Got the alternator wire right here. Then I'm waiting for the wire for the block to the chassis. Already tapped this hole right here in the chassis so I can put this bolt right here for the ground, for the motor to the chassis ground. Oh yeah, and then I got it going all the way under here, and then I'll get something to hold it. Y'all can't see. I'll get something right here to put on the oil pan to hold this wire right there, so I won't be flying all over the place. But yeah, then I gotta go over here to here. These battery terminals or whatever they're called, I'm gonna get some different ones, some better ones. So anyway, yeah, and they got this going to the starter. This is the ground for the block to the battery, and then I got the ground right here. Now this wire is red. This will get changed out. This is the only wire I had in the house, so that's why it's red. But like I said, I'm gonna change that out. But yeah, that's the ground for the cylinder head to the body, and then there's another ground. Let me zoom in for y'all. There you go. Another ground right here. That's from the body to the chassis. That's the original wire right there. And then that purple wire you see, that's the starter wire. Let me zoom y'all back out. But yeah, that's the starter wire. That one I'm gonna rewire because I'm trying to prevent wires from going across the top of the firewall. So I'm gonna bring this all down here or all across here with the wire for the headlights, and come all right here and something like that. So when we get to that point, I'll show y'all more what I'm doing. But anyway, what I did to get this in was I had a bunch of just flat boards. Just put this in the back of my truck, drove it out here. You know, obviously used the hoist to pull it out from the bed of my truck and turned around. But yeah, I had a bunch of plywood flat boards right here that they actually held up when I put this on here. So yeah, that's how I did it. So those of y'all that want to build a motor, y'all have a backyard but don't have a shop like me, if I can do it, y'all definitely can do it. If y'all subscribe, maybe we could get a shop, do bigger, better builds. This big block, since I got bigger cylinder heads and taller valve covers, as you can see right there, I had to cut this out. Yeah, I had to cut this out and get some 16 gauge to weld that back in there. Now, a lot of y'all in the comment probably say, why didn't y'all just beat the wall out to fit these? Well, as you can see, like the firewall was going right here, and this I had to cut all the way back to fit this. So this metal's not going to stretch 3 inches back from beating on it, so I had to cut it out to fit this motor, these valve covers on here. So yeah, and then you can see at first I started beating the wall to make them fit. Then when I cut it out and saw how far that was sticking inside the cab, I was like, definitely need to cut that firewall out. So yeah, I did that, and then you can see I welded it, grinded down the welds. I was about to Bondo it and paint over it. Then I was like, this truck, I'm not trying to win awards. I'm just trying to build it to where it looks nice, but not nice enough where I'm scared to drive it, and trying to win awards and all that stuff. But it's gonna be a nice enough truck to where you look at it and be like, oh, that's a clean truck, and you just continue to walk on. On this side, you can see I was able to beat the wall to clear this side, the driver's side valve cover. I didn't have to cut that out, and like I said, I didn't put any Bondo on there. I just used a hammer to beat that firewall down, and you can see it has just enough clearance to where it's not hitting the firewall. I don't know if y'all can see that on camera, but there is clearance in there. Those of you new watching the channel, I'm going to be converting this big block to EFI. So right now I'm thinking of getting the Holley Terminator X, that ECU, just so I can have tunability on it, so I can learn how to tune it myself, so I don't have to keep paying people to tune it for me. Plus that'll be a good thing to pick up and learn, and then that'll open up a lot of opportunities for me. But anyway, sorry, I'm just rambling on right now. But anyway, yeah, gonna go with the Terminator X. And then, like I saw in my previous video, I got the Holley intake they just released earlier this year. I might try to install that in this vid. I don't know if I want to make this vid just showing y'all how I put this big block in here, to make another vid of me installing the intake or what. But yeah, I'm not too sure. Right now I'm waiting for some headers to come in. I did find some headers, pretty much the only headers that would fit, long tube headers, but I don't know. Let me zoom in. As y'all can see, that is a very, very tight fit between the starter and the firewall and the chassis and all that stuff. So I don't know if it's gonna fit on there. I still have my stock heads, but they're just short headers. I might have to use that on here. I'm not 100% sure what I'm gonna do about that. But so those of y'all that are putting big block Chevy at a 1500, which there probably isn't a whole lot of y'all doing that. Most of y'all are LS swapping, which is cool. But yeah, those of y'all put a big block Chevy 1500, you're gonna run into that problem. And it's probably the 2500s too, probably run into that problem also. They were just cheap, $300 Hedman headers, long tube. So the bad thing about those headers are that they are round port, and I need square port for this. But the ones that were square port, those were about $700 because they were ceramic coated. I think I said that right. Anyway, those were $700, but they were square port. They will work for this. But thing is, this big block, I don't want to spend a lot of money on the headers, because I'm probably going to change it again, because I'm planning on maybe putting a turbo on here. Because if you watch my other videos about this big block, y'all know that I told y'all that the rings, the piston rings, are gapped for boost, and this motor is built for like some type of power adder, like turbo, supercharger, blower, nitrous, whatever. But I would like to put a turbo in here, because there's not a whole lot of big blocks that have a turbo. Drive for a little bit just to get the motor broken in, throw some miles on there, make sure everything works. And then I'm gonna go to the square body Chevy, LS swap that truck, and then I'll come back to here and figure out if I want to put a turbo on here, a supercharger sticking out the hood, or a bottle of nitrous, or both. Yeah, or both. Have a turbo with nitrous, or a supercharger sticking out the hood with a bottle of nitrous. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, like I just said, I'm just trying to get it running now. Get the bugs all figured out and all that stuff. We'll talk about that and turbo, power outer when we get to that point. And I think I showed y'all in the last vid or something that I cut that out. Or no, I took this wire harness out, welded that, and then what I'm gonna do is drill a hole right there so I can put the wiring harness for Terminator X through. I know most of y'all gonna say, why can I just integrate it with the old stock wire harness, because the reason I'm not gonna do that, because I'm gonna run a digital Dakota dash in there, so that will just plug up to the Holley Terminator X. With this wire harness, the only thing I gotta figure out on here is the for the wiper motor. Yeah, I'm not gonna find that switch now. There's 2 wires for this wiper motor that went on this side with this wire harness, so I gotta look at that and figure out if one of those are the ground power or what. Yeah, I'll figure it out when we get to that point about those 2 wires for the wiper motor. But yeah, sorry for rambling on, but yeah, when the headers get here, put the headers on, see if those fit. Then later in the week, I'll probably put the intake on. Sorry, I know I keep rambling on, but I don't think I showed y'all this. I don't think I showed y'all this. This right here is a crank trigger. Hopefully y'all can hear me. I got these fans on. So sorry again, sorry about the noise. But anyway, you can see I got this crank trigger right here. Innovators West crank trigger to hold their crank trigger bracket. That's what it's called. Jeez, sorry, it took me a second. But that's what this is. And then we got an Innovator West harmonic bouncer. Now this harmonic bouncer, they have this crank wheel. Gee, sorry, forgot the name of it. But yeah, they got this crank wheel right here. This is a 12 trigger, I think this is a 12 trigger, yeah, 12 trigger crank wheel. And then the sensor, I have the sensor, I just don't have it hooked up on here yet. The sensor is the Holley, one of the Holley sensors. I'll have all the stuff in the description so y'all can click on it and see what all the parts I use. But yeah, both of these I got from Summit Racing. But yeah, I got this one. Yeah, I got the Innovator West. They tied it in with the harmonic bouncer, so when I got this crank wheel, this pulley wheel on here, it doesn't push it out an 1/8 of an inch, the perfect length, so I don't have to space anything out. Because most people put a crank trigger on here, they put this on here and then space this out, but at the same time they're putting a electric water pump on here and they're just spacing out the alternator, and that's all they're running. Because most people who run a crank trigger on a big block, small block, they're using it for racing. Those of y'all that are putting a big block in a 1500, hope this helps y'all out, but I know there's not a lot of people doing that. All right guys, so see, it's dark or almost dark. I came out here at this time because the sun's going down. It's way cooler out here, but anyway, so I'm trying to get this header in. This is the passenger side. Like I said, it will be a problem, but I think it's gonna fit. So I had to hammer this down. You can see, yeah, you can see that. I had to hammer this right here, and I did it on the other side too, because it was hitting the ear on the transmission. So I had to hammer that down so it could slip through there. If you want, you can cut off the ear, but hammering it was quicker. But you cut off the ear, be a cleaner look. Then if you cut off the ear, you won't have to hammer this. So yeah, and the transmission I got in here is a 4L80E. So yeah, put in a big block Chevy in a 94 OBS 1500. You're either gonna have to cut off that ear on the transmission or hammer in on both sides like this so it can slip in there. And now what I'm having problems is when I put it in, now it's hitting the cab at the bottom. So I hammered this down also, and I hammered on the bottom of the cab. So I'm gonna go in there and hammer more on the bottom of the cab to see if I make this fit. So yeah, probably should have just put the short tube headers on there, but same time, they're short tubes. All right guys, so it's the next day, and as you can see, this header is still laying on the ground, and since I already beat it with the hammer, I can't return it. So yeah, basically it won't fit. I found out 3 issues why this won't fit. The main one is because these cylinder heads. Oh, and as you can see, I got the stock manifolds on, but we'll get to that in a minute, because this side doesn't really fit either. But anyway, we'll get to that in a minute, like I just said. Anyway, these cylinder heads, since they're bigger than the stock cylinder heads, they kind of raise up, even though these cylinder heads say their standard height location, but still these cylinder heads, they're bigger than the stock ones, so that kind of raises everything up. And since it raises everything up, those headers are hitting the bottom of the cab, so it's not lining up and fitting on the cylinder head. Because I tried to beat the bottom of the cab, and you gotta beat it like a lot. It's more than just hit it a little bit and it'll fit. You have to hit it a lot, or just cut out the floor and weld like a hump in the floor, and I'm not doing all that just to fit some headers that are round port and this is square port, and they're 1.75 inches. So yeah, I'm not doing all that just to fit those headers. So yeah, if you got a big block Chevy aftermarket cylinder heads and you want to put long tube headers on it on a 94 OBS, it's not happening unless you make some custom headers. I think I said earlier in the vid I was gonna put this intake on. I'm definitely not gonna do that. But yeah, that's about it for this vid. I'm just gonna take these short headers off and paint them and throw them back on here. First I wasn't gonna paint them, I was just gonna throw them on here and leave them on here because I was just pissed off last night. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, it's free, only takes 0.5 seconds. Comment, share, do all that good stuff. But yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Alright guys, so I was gonna end this vid, but before I end this vid, I'm gonna put the intake on here. I'm not gonna bolt it down or anything. I'm just gonna sit it on there and make sure this hood will clear this intake. Yeah, we'll see. Alright, so got the intake on, as you can see. Let me see if it'll clear this hood. Woo, that's close. That's actually touching it. Had a feeling that was gonna happen. Oh wait, let me move this wiring stuff. Yeah. Yep, it's touching. I had a feeling that was gonna touch the hood. So yeah. So I either can cut that little brace out and it probably will fit, or just get a cow induction hood, or well, actually I'll probably just cut a little bit out. I don't know, we'll see. Or could just run this without a hood. But yeah, so you can see more problems. Exhaust didn't fit, hood doesn't clear this, but I kind of knew the hood wasn't, I kind of knew the manifold was gonna be slightly too tall for this hood, well, for this truck. So yeah, so another problem. Got a big block Chevy 94 OBS, trying to use this holley in-tank. It's not gonna clear the hood, but I kind of figure it wouldn't. Even though this doesn't clear the hood, it still looks good though. Woo! Geez, that's gonna be nice. So but anyway, that's it for this video. Not gonna show y'all anything else, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's free, only takes 0.2 seconds. Make sure you hit the like button, share with your friends, your mama, whoever. Make sure you comment, and then yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.